Morgan joins us now. She is the Vice President of Medical Affairs for Hello Heart. Dr. Morgan, always good to see you. I said the doctors want this because there is a link between changing clocks and heart health. Explain.
You know, there is a link, and it's probably the opposite of what people think. And the link is actually when we spring forward in spring and we lose an hour. We gain an hour of daylight, but we lose that hour in the morning. We actually do see an increase in heart attacks, especially during that first week. And that is because our bodies, based on millions and millions and millions of years of circadian rhythm, are in alignment with the rhythm, the natural rotation of the earth. So when the sun rises and when the sun sets. And so this is really our biology. But behavior, as a cardiologist, people tend to be more active when we have longer days. We tend to go out for walks. We tend to spend more time outdoors. We tend to engage in healthier behaviors. So this really is a yin and a yang between biology versus behavior.
Dr. Morgan, is there an age group that is most affected?
So when we look at age groups, the older you are, the more affected you are. And it's one of the reasons oftentimes when you think about people as they age and you say, oh, you know, older people are going to bed earlier and earlier and rising earlier and earlier, they actually are becoming more in tune with their circadian rhythm and their biologic clock when they are not off of the world clock, meaning they are not getting up for work or getting up for children or doing other responsibilities. They actually now are retired or doing other things, and their body then resets to the rhythm of the earth. And so the question is, when we look at daylight saving, we do see an increase in heart attacks in that first week that people move, and that's because we have a shift in the cortisol spikes and the melatonin spikes, and your body becomes out of sync. It shows higher blood pressure, higher heart rates, higher rates of inflammation. All of that drives heart disease. But the flip side of the coin is people tend to engage in healthier behaviors when we have longer days. And so that's the pull and the pull against and for it. And it's one of the reasons that the population prefers daylight saving, because there's much more time to be outdoors. And there's something to be said for more sunlight, more absorption of vitamin D, which is also helpful for your heart.
Kind of a mixed question here, though, a compound question, actually. What about men and women and children? And also, as we are looking at summers that seem to be getting hotter, I mean, we have been under a heat dome all across this country, with temperatures now topping 100 degrees, in some cases feeling like 115. Does that affect our health from a cardiologist standpoint with regards to changing the clock?
Absolutely, and that's such a great question and a great way to intersect. You know, as our planet heats up and we see these hotter and hotter summers, that's not a friend to your heart. And if you combine that as well with the changing of the time, the daylight savings time, that also could be very detrimental. But we want to remember, even though most of those deaths occur in the first week, what we don't know and what we don't have is the research to show does it get offset by the healthier behaviors that people engage in with longer daylight. Now, the biology, people on the biology side will say, well, that means longer days, less sleep. And less sleep increases your risk of heart disease. We don't want to disrupt sleep. We'd like more darkness such that we sleep more. The other side, when we talk about behavior, we talk about all of those things: community, socialization, exercise, being outdoors, absorbing sunlight. And so we'll see, it looks as if they voted for behavior over biology today.
Dr. Morgan, I got time for one last question, and it is a bone to pick with you. I was reading through the research, and I was surprised that some of your fellow researchers don't recommend an afternoon nap, which is a staple of my lifestyle. Explain.
And so again, when we're talking about afternoon naps, we're talking about the circadian rhythm and when does our melatonin and when does our cortisol rise and fall. You know, that's very important for things like nocturnal dipping. Now, what does that mean? That means when we have a natural fall in our blood pressure once we're sleeping. That nocturnal dipping is part of our body's response to how we rest and recover. So midday naps can interrupt that, can confuse the body as well. And so, you know, again, we're talking about biology over behavior. Is there anything wrong with a refreshing midday nap? Maybe yes, maybe no.
Nocturnal dipping, my new phrase for the week. Dr. Jane Morgan, cardiologist and vice president of medical affairs for Hello Heart. Dr. Morgan, as always, thanks for being with us.
It's a pleasure, Dale. Thank you.